Hello, welcome to Wednesday. Today we're going to go over the cardiovascular system. Specifically, it's part of the cardiovascular system, but we're going to specifically go through the heart. Just to remind you that the cardiovascular system is a closed system, meaning that it flows continuously, unlike the lymphatic system where there wasn't a pump and it wasn't a continuous flow. The heart pumps the blood vessels circulate it. The function is to deliver oxygen and nutrients and to remove waste, carbon dioxide and waste. So I'm going to show you a 2-minute clip that's going to talk about some things, and then we'll go back on the notes on it. So the 2-minute clip is right now. There we go.
The heart pumps blood throughout the body, carrying oxygen and nutrients to every cell. It's this circulation of blood that is vital to sustaining life. The heart is an organ made up of several tough layers of muscle. The pericardium is the thin layer that covers the exterior, while the endocardium lines the inside walls. The heart is divided into 4 chambers, 2 upper and 2 lower. The upper chambers, known as the atrium, receive blood coming into the heart. The lower chambers are the ventricles that pump blood out. Between each chamber are valves that open and close and help keep the blood moving. They are the tricuspid, mitral, pulmonary, and aortic valves. A pumping cycle starts when oxygen-depleted blood returns to the heart after circulating throughout the body. The blood enters through the right atrium before flowing to the right ventricle. It's then pumped to the lungs via the pulmonary arteries. There, blood is rejuvenated by air that's breathed in. The oxygen-rich blood returns to the heart through the left atrium, where it goes to the left ventricle. Then, by way of the aortic artery, the fresh blood is pumped throughout the body before the process repeats itself. That process happens with every heartbeat, and it's relentless. The heart beats 100,000 times a day, 40 million times a year, and up to 3 billion times over an average lifespan. But there are conditions that can disrupt a heartbeat and that normality. They can range from myocardial infarction or a heart attack to heart disease and hypertension. In contrast, exercise and emotional excitement can also have an impact on a person's heartbeat. The various blood vessels that comprise the circulatory system are a network of veins, arteries, and capillaries that span over 60,000 miles throughout the body, and the heart is the pump at the center of it.
All right, so the heart walls, I want to review that. There are 3 layers to it. Epi means outside, cardium means heart, so it's the outside layer. It's visceral pericardium, so visceral meaning the movement. When I talked about pericardium, peri is around, and then the serous membranes form that friction-free layer, because there's connective tissue and then liquid inside. The myocardium is the middle layer, and that's made of cardiac muscle. So that when you're thinking about the heart muscle pumping itself, that's myocardium. Myo means muscle, and endo means inner, and the endocardium is the layer inside, which is right here, that it is going to be exposed to the inner chamber. So when we're looking at the heart, this is just taking a little section out of it. It's showing the fibrous pericardium, so that really tough layer, the serous membrane in between, forming that pericardial cavity. The epicardium is the outside, and then the myocardium is the muscle itself, and the endocardium, endo means inner, so this would be open to the heart chamber. We're going to look at the circulation of the heart and concentrate on what the structures of the heart are. So these right here are the atria. Atria means entryway. So when you think about the atrium at the school, that's the entryway outside of the office. That's where everybody comes in. So blood's going to enter through the superior vena cava, and you can see down here the inferior vena cava. The inferior vena cava is going to come up behind, and they're both going to dump into this right atria. The right atria is going to gather blood until it has a full amount, and then the valves are going to open. This valve is called the tricuspid valve. And I remember it because you try to be right. It's the valve that is on the right side, called tricuspid because it has three cusps, three little folds. On Thursday, I will dissect the heart and I'll show you what those cusps look like. So once the blood goes into the right ventricle, the ventricle, when it contracts, is going to push into the pulmonary artery. Arteries go away from the heart. So even though it's blue colored here, it's still an artery. Artery away, AA. This valve is called the pulmonary semilunar valve, and I will show you that on Thursday as well. Semilunar, half moon. So the cusps make little pockets, little half moon pockets, and I'll show you how that works. Then these are going to separate and go right and left into the lungs. And from the lungs, then the carbon dioxide is going to diffuse out. The oxygen is going to diffuse in to those red blood cells, and the blood is going to enter. This right one is going to go behind the heart and enter into the left atrium. And the left side also enters into the left atrium. So both of the pulmonary veins go towards the heart. So these are veins, even though they're red, they are going to dump into the left atrium. From the left atrium, they go past the mitral valve. This valve, another name for it is bicuspid. I learned it bicuspid, so I'll probably say that more often, but it is also called the mitral valve. We are now into the left ventricle. When the left ventricle contracts, it's going to go past the aortic semilunar valve and into the aorta, and then to all of the arteries in the body. So here's that blood flow diagram. So it's showing that we are getting blood coming in to the right atrium, then into the right ventricle, then out to the pulmonary arteries, back in through the pulmonary veins, into the left atrium, past the mitral or bicuspid valve, into the left ventricle, past the aortic semilunar valve, into the aorta, and out to the body. So there's a diagram that I shared with you that I want you to make a copy of and fill out. This is what it looks like. So we've got, says make a copy of this worksheet, complete and share. So this is just having you number off those features. This is found in your textbook. It's also found in this PowerPoint if you want to look at that. But you're going to need to know these. We need the common vocab of where things are. So that is the exterior of the heart. And then this is the internal anatomy of the heart that you need to label. So that is your task for today, and I will see you live tomorrow.